Now, when we get to Matthew 24 and verse number 50, and Jesus talking about the end times, he speaks about something that would puzzle many people. When he says, so when you see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by the prophet Daniel, standing in the holy place, let the reader understand. Now, what is this abomination of desolation? Now, Daniel spoke about it in his book. I think it's around Daniel chapter 9. What is this about? Now, that abomination of desolation was actually set up in the year 168 BC by Antiochus Epiphanes. And what he did is he erected an altar to Zeus in the temple. I think he also sacrificed a pig, and he just made the altar so defiled. He defiled the altar and set up this altar there to Zeus. And there was a great a reaction from the Jews as a result of that. But that really, what he did there, what Antiochus Epiphanes did, was really a dry run for the Antichrist. There's going to be, many times prophecies have what we call a double fulfillment. There's a fulfillment here, but there's also another fulfillment to come in the future. And Jesus said, when you see the abomination of desolation, because that happened in the past. So Jesus definitely is using that same prophecy, saying, hey, this is going to happen again, right? In a greater way. Just like how Hitler, we can see, was sort of a dry run for the Antichrist. The same way what Antiochus Epiphanes did was a dry run of the abomination of desolation. When is he spoken of standing in the holy place, he says, then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountain. He said, this is time to get up, pack. No, sorry, don't even pack. Get up and run. Leave everything. Let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let the one who is on the housetop, you don't even go down to take what is in the house. He says, the one who's in the field, don't go back to your home and grab your cloak. He said, it's time to get out of Jerusalem. He said, alas for women who are pregnant and for those who are nursing infants in those days. It's going to be so horrible, so terrible, so awful for women who have babies and they're breastfeeding. Because one, babies, they're holding them back because of the weight, and then it's going to be hard for them to produce and the milk and the feed and care for the baby in these terrible times. He said, and then he said also, pray that your flight may not be in the winter or in the south. Winter, it's cold, and it's like people in Ukraine right now struggling without heat. In the winter because of the war. He says, pray that your flight may not be in the winter. It's going to be cold. It's not a great thing to be out in the winter time, and it's cold. He said, or even on the Sabbath, because Jews don't want to be traveling, moving around, doing any kind of work on the Sabbath day. But he said, when you see that abomination of desolation, then you know what I'm talking about. He said, get ready, leave. Why? Because there will be great tribulation. Not just tribulation, he says there will be great tribulation. As a matter of fact, many Bible scholars and prophecy experts would divide up the 7 years of tribulation into two parts. The first 3.5 years, and then when you have the Antichrist breaks his covenant with Israel, the second 3.5 years is a time of great tribulation. He said, then there will be great tribulation, such as has not been from the beginning of the world until now. No, he says, and never will be. It's going to be such a horrible time. That second half of the tribulation, such a horrible time. It's going to be awful for anyone who's living in the world. But listen, beloved, you and I, we don't have to go into the tribulation. Many Bible scholars, and we would hold to that too, that, well, the church is going to be raptured before the tribulation. Thank God he's going to save us from the tribulation. Amen. And I'll see you again on Monday. God bless.